Hey guys, welcome to the Derpzilla channel. And today we're gonna do a little home security related type video. And what I'm gonna be covering is the Arlo camera system here. This is the 4K, it's called the Ultra 2 Spotlight camera. You can actually buy this in a bundle where it comes with two cameras, which are 4K video, and also a hub that you will actually will kind of control and program the activity zones and everything through the camera. I've actually been running the Arlo security system in my house for about a year now. I have the Arlo ring type doorbell camera. I have a camera in my living room, and I have a number of cameras around the house, but I wanted to add a camera to the garage, which right now I don't have anything on, and I wanted to add one to my shed that I just had installed in the backyard. So today I'm just going to add these two to my already set up system, take a look at it. But so far overall, I'm pleased with the overall usability of these cameras and the whole system in its entirety. Now you can do free or you can do a subscription base, which is a few dollars per camera over a certain number, per month. Relatively cheap. I think I pay like 10 or 15 bucks total for everything, and it does cloud saves. It does a number of other cool things. It has the AI package detection, person and animal detection. So if a package comes up to your door, your camera will see it, and then it'll actually draw a little box around it, and it'll say, hey, I got a package at the door. So it's pretty handy. So real simple. We're just going to head and take a look at these, and then we're going to take a look at some footage, quality of footage you get, and how to set up. I'll probably install this one in this video in my garage, and then we'll kind of just skip past me installing the one on my shed, circle back, take a look at how everything pans out, and then maybe you'll decide if you want to go with something like this if you're considering different security systems. And then so we'll go for there. Go ahead and get this thing unboxed, and then we'll take a look at what you get in this specific bundle. I actually don't need the other hub. I already have two hubs. You can hook up, I believe, an unlimited number of hubs to your system and control them different. I have a front and a rear hub based on my, I guess, the range to the cameras. I don't need a third hub, but it was cheaper for me to buy the two camera hub bundle than it was to buy two cameras, which is kind of crazy. So pretty much the hub was actually a discount. I paid like $20 less for the bundle versus buying a two camera set without the hub. So yeah, we'll go ahead and jump forward with this, and then we'll take a look at what comes in the box if you buy this specific setup. All right, here we have the little set here. As mentioned before, this is the Ultra 2. This is the bundle. It's two cameras and the smart hub. Now the smart hub is key if you want to run the Ultra set cameras with the 4K. They have an older style hub that I believe is incompatible with the Ultra and Ultra 2. And as far as the difference between the Ultra and Ultra 2, I'm not really sure what the differences are. I don't think there's a huge difference. They're both 4K. I think it's just maybe some software, firmware type improvements and stuff like that. So as you can see here, cameras are relatively small. I mean, here's my hand. You can see there's two versions. You can get a black or white, and really it's just the outer shell is the difference. All of them, I believe the front is the same color, the black. Now it's relatively well wrapped up here, but I'll go ahead and set these to the side. And really that's all I'm going to be using from this whole box here. But you also, with this kit, get this smart hub, which you also does have the ability, I believe, to put a micro SD card or something like that in here to save storage locally if you're not using the cloud. And then you get a power unit. And then cool thing about these Arlo cameras is they have a magnetic charge cord. Now the Arlos are completely wireless. You don't need to have a power cord or network cable or anything like that to operate these things. Of course, it's wireless. It's not going to be as fast as being hardwired, a CTV or whatever system. But if you take a look, if I can open this, the charger plug is a magnetic type plug, and you see here it just kind of slaps in. So if you have this mounted pretty high up, you could technically, I guess, get this on maybe a gripper thing that reaches up there, and then just push it on there to charge it, and then you can just pull it off, and you're good to go. Me, I always just pull the battery out myself, and it's pretty simple. You have a little release button here, and it removes the front plate where the battery is located, and then you have the rear shell. Now these shells are interchangeable, and I believe they have a high security shell that actually replaces this whole shell unit with a one that mounts, makes it harder to actually remove the face plate from here. So obviously don't mount this somewhere completely unattended, easy to access, otherwise somebody can come up there and reach down and push the button and then pop this out, and then, you know, of course they've now ran off with your camera, or they can of course yank it off the wall. These are not high security, you know, you're not gonna put this in a bank vault. This is for up on your siding of your house, up by your roof, or, you know, somewhere high or in a secure area, not easy to be accessed. Now I'll go ahead and set these aside and get this out of the way. And of course this comes with some mounting solutions here. Looks like this is a magnetic mount, which is pretty cool. You can mount the camera directly onto the magnetic mount like that. So if you want this on your wall, like I'll probably use this mount in my garage, and it gives you a lot of versatility on, you know, how you want to mount it. Of course you can't put it up here. That's about as high as you can get it, so you can hang it like this. Pretty cool mount there. And then they give you a mount like this, and this one actually will screw in like this, and then you'll actually screw this to a secure, you know, piece of wood or something like that. I'll probably use this mount for when I do the shed mount with this. So it gives you a lot of cool options and things you can do here. And they also give you an Ethernet cable and some other goodies that you can use to hook up your smart hub. The smart hub does need to be hooked to a modem or a router of some sort, and then this will actually give you your own channel for your cameras. I'm gonna go ahead and get the plastic and everything removed from this, and then we'll take a little closer look and then get one of these mounted, magnetic mount here, to my garage wall. All right, I have everything laid out. I have the plastic removed from the cameras, and I have the battery situated here, the mount that I'm gonna be using on the for my garage mounted camera. And real quick, before we actually get this added to the smart hub, which you should have added earlier, we'll go ahead and walk through that real quick. This is what the app looks like once you have situated your various hubs. And it's really cool. You can set up different modes. Like I have for my front hub, I have it disarmed with light. So my front floodlight will still work, but the camera won't do any kind of recordings or anything like that. And you could add additional modes. They have some default ones that I believe you cannot remove, but the ones with a little pencil you can adjust. So right now I have everything disarmed because I'm going to be outside, and so I don't need notifications popping up every few minutes. And here is a listing of the devices. So when you first get the Arlo app, which is available on the Play Store and the Apple Store, you will want to add a new device, and you can do a base station hub, and you're going to plug in your base station smart hub that came with your kit. If you got one with the, you know, that came in a kit with a hub, and it'll plug in with the Ethernet cable they provide, and you will actually plug that directly into your router or your modem, and then you'll follow these steps to actually get your smart hub situated, because you need that first before you go ahead and add your cameras and everything else. Now, real quick, just to show you what it looks like here. Here's my Arlo doorbell. You can kind of see the walls on each side, and really not a great spot because you lose your field of vision with how my entranceway is. But then here's the floodlight. This is actually non 4K, but it has a floodlight built in. Here's one of my 4K cameras, and it does kind of go into low power mode, so it takes a few seconds to kick in before you can jump into live mode, but it's not too bad. It's better than some systems that I've used. And you go to landscape, very clear, but your live view, I believe, is not 4K, but it records in 4K. So live view is kind of pared down just for speed, bandwidth, and whatnot. But if you have a, you know, an activity zone that is hit and something recorded, that recording, which will go to your library right here, will actually be in 4K for your 4K Ultra cameras. jump back to devices, and a real cool feature with this is you can set up your device settings here. Trying to keep this on end screen, and you can set up your activity zones. So you see here, this is an activity zone, and anything that goes within this activity zone will record and alert and notification based on your settings with your mode. And so definitely you can drag this around to fit your area. So if you notice, I don't have the street in front of my house in the activity zone because I didn't want to get a million notifications every time somebody drove by the house. You can also adjust settings and stuff. They do allow you to go to the Arlo website, and you can control this stuff through your account on Arlo website. Now I have the cloud saved, so when I go to my library, it saves this stuff in the cloud, and I believe it leaves 30 days or something like that. So if you have a recording that you want to keep, you can actually download it directly to your phone, and it gives you another bunch of extra cool features like that. It has AI package detection. Cats will run across, under my car. It'll, flag me for animal detected, and it'll mark it with like a little box. So I guess they call that AI, and some other cool stuff. Now, what we're going to want to do for this, I will be installing this Ultra camera in my garage, and so we'll go ahead and walk through that. And the whole process. Every device is pretty much the same. You'll add a device, you'll select what device it is, what kind of a device it is, and then it'll walk you through exactly what you need to do to get it added, and make sure you add it to the closest, best reception smart hub. So if you have multiple hubs, you want to add it to a closer hub. Now, if you have a device you're trying to mount 2 miles away, it's not going to sync to your smart hub. So you have to be within a decent range. They are pretty good, but the better range you get, the quicker you'll be able to jump into the camera to view live. Just keep that in mind. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this first camera added to my smart hub and then into my device management thing here. Pretty simple. You just want to scroll to the very bottom. So for you, if it's just your first time, you won't have all these things in there. So it'll pretty much be pretty simple. It has an add new device. Gives you a listing. Make sure you pick the correct one. Of course, would be doing camera. And since this is an Ultra, of course, you have something different. You select the right one. This is an Ultra, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick Ultra. And really, Ultra and Ultra 2 are synced up the same way. Hit that. And then you wanna pick which smart hub. Now, if you have multiple hubs, pick the closest one. As mentioned, for me, the closest one to my garage mount will be the front. And then, of course, it does a little firmware thing for your smart hub. If it's your first time, you may have to download some firmware. All right, go ahead and get this thing here. And we're gonna go ahead and plug the battery in. Pretty simple. You want to line up the gold tabs with the gold nubs here. Snap it into place. And then you want to hit continue. Now it's gonna look for it. You should see a blinky light here. If this isn't blinking or doing anything, or if this takes too long, you're gonna want to scroll it around, flip it upside down, and there's a button here. It's a sync button. So if you notice this isn't flashing correctly or it's taking real long, hit that sync button, it'll register it. Now, if you see here, pops up that available device. Only do these one at a time because then you could get confused which device is what. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and slot this into the case. It seals. Just make sure you get a good pop there. Perfect. You want to go ahead and name your camera. For me, this will be my garage camera. It's an Ultra, so I'll just name it Garage Ultra. Very unique name here. All right. Hit finish. And ask me later. So you can add this to your plan on the website later if you go that route. All right, it says it's offline. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this app and relaunch it. Sometimes it does get kind of finicky and doesn't want to initially actually view it. So I'm gonna go ahead and reboot this app, and then we'll jump back and take a look. All right, I just pretty much killed the app, relaunched it. It shows up fine here. Sometimes the first time you set these up, it does have a weird like communication thing. So just keep in mind, just close the app out completely and then restart it. And then I have my garage camera listed here. Go ahead and hit a preview on it. And there you go, see? And there's a few second delay of moving the camera before it registers. So there we go. We'll go ahead and see how we're gonna line up where we wanna mount it so it looks good, you have the best field of vision, and you see exactly what you want to see. All right, so the trick is you want to, I can't really show this, but since I have only two hands, you're gonna want to hit the live view button on the camera. It's fine, you can walk around with it. Of course, it does no wiring. And then you're gonna live view it, and you're kind of move it around, you know, and watch the live view. Of course, let it catch up. Don't move it too quickly. And once you find the perfect angle and location for your camera to sit, you know, might be here, that's where you're gonna want to mount the camera, or close to that spot. Otherwise, once you have that figured out, you'll go ahead and get your mounting solution that you wanna go with. For us, it will be the magnetic mount. This one right here, and you'll mount it up, and then you can, you know, slap your camera on there, and it'll be perfect. So I'm gonna figure out where my perfect solution is. We'll come back and see how to mount the actual device mount here onto the wall. All right, I found a pretty good spot. It gives me good visibility of the entire garage, other than like the back corner over there where my water heaters are, but that's fine. It gets view of both garage doors, outside, you know, onto the driveway a little bit, and then the whole garage. And it's kind of a little bit to the left of the door. I got plus minus this, and of course, with the magnetic mount, I can swivel the camera as I see fit to really fine tune it. So we're gonna go ahead and get that mount mounted, as you could see here. And it looks relatively simple. One screw, and they have a little instruction here on how it fits in. I guess it looks like kind of like that maybe, but yeah, they show you pretty much. You're going to thread in a drywall screw here into the drywall. There's a little plastic washer type thing, and then the screw that will create a spot where this thing can slide over and then lock into place. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get this mounted, and then I will come back to it and we'll discuss if there's any issues or any complications, but it looks pretty straightforward. All right, as you can see here, this is the drywall, little piece inside the wall, and then the screw, and then the little slotted plastic grooved washer looking thing. You want it to be orientated vertically like this so that the mount can slide down over. The white stuff here is just some glue I put in there because my drywall has a ton of insulation foam right behind the drywall, of course, but it's packed in there so tight that anytime I try pushing the anchor through, it just pops back out regardless of the size or anything like that. So I added some of that, and then I will just let that dry, and then we'll come back and see if I can mount the mount on there in this current orientation. So we'll head outside for the outdoor shed mount camera, which will be this one. I'm gonna go ahead and add it to my software since same exact steps as before, but we'll use this mount here, and I'm just gonna screw this directly into the shed. So I'm not gonna need these anchors or anything like that. And then we will see how it looks, and then come back and finish mounting up the magnetic mount, and then wrap things up. All right, heading back to my back side yard here, through this fence, and then here is my tough shed. I have these little solar lights that kind of let me see the door lock and stuff like that, so when I get in here at night, so you can actually check out the video for those up here somewhere. But I already synced up the camera to the app, and there is where I want to mount the mount they have here. So we'll head ahead and set the camera, and then we'll grab the mount. Super easy. It's 3 screws. This has a tightening knob here that tightens and swivels a little bit side to side, but mostly it's to swivel it downward or upward based on how you want this orientated. I'll have it probably swiveled down, so I'll have it like this. And then you'll just apply your 3 screws. So I'm gonna go ahead and screw this in. We can listen to the dog bark for ambiance, and then we'll get the camera attached. So you can see here, mount is situated. This knob here adjusts the up, down. Right now I have it, you see this slot here, so it can swivel down. And then the camera will screw on right here. You can see here, it's a thread on the back. And it's kind of hard with one hand, but let's see if we can get it accomplished here. And you want it orientated, so the mount is on the bottom, but you don't want to rip out threads. Now, back here is the collar, which I want to make sure that's tightened up into the camera so it doesn't rotate. And then you want to get it situated so how you want it. So I'm going to set the camera down so I can get this lined up nicely. And there is the camera. And you can see here, there's my bald head, and you can see pretty much how it is situated. So it's very clear and looks pretty good. It also has a cool spotlight feature. So if I turn off my light here, and then you can turn it back off. Very cool. We'll head back in the garage and then take a look at finishing the garage mount. And garage camera is mounted up. I had a little bit of issues with the drywall anchor. It's because it's insulation. I guess it's so packed in there. As soon as I put the anchor in, the insulation kept pushing the anchor back out part way. So I couldn't get into the insulation, and anytime I tried to drill through it or whatever, it just kept kind of wrapping around. So I just pushed the anchor in as good as I could. Put some glue on there to hold it in, but it was protruding out just a little bit more than if it was flush. And so when you add the screw that then goes to that little vertically shaped plastic hook washer, whatever that is, it comes with this kit. It actually sticks out just a little bit. And so when you take this mount right here, you can kind of see it. Maybe I'll get a little light on it, but this mount then just slides over and it locks into place on that little plastic washer piece. But because it protruded out a little bit on my wall, and the texturing wall doesn't help, it was actually a little bit wobbly. So I just wedged a piece of cardboard. You know, it's not super pretty. I can trim this and make it look a little bit better. But it made it nice and stable. And then of course the camera just magnetically attaches. I'm not gonna mess with it because I actually have it perfectly angled of, you know, how I want it for my garage. And really that wraps up the install of the garage mount. Super easy. Just keep a note, if you set up activity zones and you pull this off and then you snap it back in and it's not exactly how you want, which is probably impossible, then you're gonna have to reprogram your activity zones. So we're gonna jump over to the computer, and you can also look at the Arlo dashboard on your computer. It's a little bit more versatile, gives you a little bit more overall view of your cameras than what the app can do. So we'll go ahead and get on the computer, look at that. We'll set up the activity zone for this camera, show you how to do that, and then we'll wrap it up. Here we are at the arlo.com website. And really there's 2 sites for Arlo. You have your main site that you'll go into as a normal customer. You can do support. You can go and log into the store, or you have an option here, if you can see, called the My Arlo Dashboard. You'll log into that and you'll be presented with your actual dashboard. It looks pretty much like your app. It's a little bit easier to see, of course, if you're on a bigger screen or a monitor or anything like that, and it's a little bit easier to fine-tune activity zones and other cool features like that. Now, as you can see here, I have my various devices, my 4K cameras, I have my Pro, and then I have my doorbell, my floodlight, and all that cool stuff. And you can go in here and view your library. This is the various footages. You cannot view these in real time recordings without downloading them on the website, unlike the app where you can just click on and play it right there on your phone. I'm not sure if that's just an extension issue or if the reasoning behind that is, but just keep that in mind. And it'll do up to I believe it's 30 days worth of recordings. It'll store them in the cloud for you. So you can see here I have a ton of recordings per day. I mean, this is each day you can fine tune. So if you know you have an event that was recorded 25 days ago, you can go to the exact day, and then you can go and find your recording that you want to take a look at. Now, another cool thing is these modes. You set modes per Smart Hub, and there's a couple default modes, as you can see here, and then you can set your own custom modes. Now, one of my custom modes after I added the garage camera is an armed-in garage custom mode, and this will actually only do the typical notifications on my front-facing cameras, but not my garage cameras. Obviously, if I'm in the garage working, I don't want to be notified that there is motion in the garage, because I know I'm in the garage and I don't need to be told that I'm in the garage. And you can add additional rules, a lot of cool stuff here. I may do a video on really in depth on how to fine tune the modes and whatnot, but it's a little above what we're doing here. Now, as you can see here, you back to the device list, and you can actually jump in and view these in real time. And there is always, of course, a few second delay because these do run on battery. They're not live fed typically, though I do have some of these hooked in to a permanent connection, but this just gives you a general idea. Now, these aren't like CCTV cameras where you can hop between, and they're always recording. These do not always record. They only record when they meet your rules that you've set up and fall within your activity zones. Now you can jump to full screen. As you can see here, it's not 4K when you're in live mode. I'm not sure what the actual resolution is, but if they are the 4K cameras, when they flag a notification, you'll get told, and then they'll actually record in 4K. So the live feed, it just keeps the bandwidth down and helps prevent a excessive draw on your battery if you're viewing these live. And I believe they do timeout after like 30 seconds if you're not actively watching anything. But so you can actually you can kick off a couple of these simultaneously, and of course each one will take a few seconds to go live. And then here's my backyard, here's the garage, and you can see it's dark in my garage. That's why it's in night vision mode. But the cool thing about the night vision mode is you can actually turn on the strobe light in there, and it will actually give you a what they call a color night vision mode. So we'll go here, and you can see it lights up in color. It's a little bit pixelated because of it is dark in there, and I am on a large screen. I'll go ahead and minimize that, but you can see here, we'll go ahead and disable that, and then you can go and stop live views as you wish. And so now we're just looking at the camera feed here, and just went back to night vision mode. Pretty quick process. You can snap photos if you want to save them to your library and you want to use them for whatever reason you may have, and you can record and actually save that to your library in 4K. And we'll go ahead and stop that. So anyways, I just wanted to go over the web portal. I think I like it a lot more than the app, but of course it's a lot less convenient because you have to actually be at your computer or laptop or whatever. And you got a lot of cool features that you have here. If you look over here at the settings, these are all my different devices. You can check out your subscription. You have subscription stuff here, some cool stuff here. So they actually just recently changed up the plans where you can do the Arlo Secure Plus, which I believe is unlimited cameras now. Before you had to do per camera after a certain number. Now it's unlimited cameras. You get a 10% off discount on their site, to buy additional cameras or accessories. You get 30 days of history, and it does 4K recording. Then they have some other plans that are a little bit cheaper, but for 15 bucks, you can add 50 cameras if you wanted, and just really pack in your full array of options. It also gives you emergency response if you want to enable that. I have an additional home security system that I don't run cameras through, that I use for emergency response. So I just use the cameras for my own intel and monitoring. They have CVR plan you can do for 24/7 nonstop recording, and that'll also go to the cloud, but that's additionally another $10 a month. So just keep that in mind. And you can grant access to additional family members to be able to control your Arlo stuff, review alerts, and you can send and designate notifications who they go to and what methods, either a push notification through the app or via email. And then if you want to adjust your device order, which this may be how you may see the actual order of the cameras and everything on your app and in the panel, you go to new device order, and you can rearrange really based on the importance. So for me, the front door usually gets the most activity, so it's the very first camera that pops up. So yeah, anyways, I did add an additional few items since I recorded the earlier footage, which you may be able to see if you look over here on, actually it's not showing, oh, here it is. If you look here where it says shed, it has this little sun icon here. That means it's actively recording via a solar panel. I did add a solar panel to the shed. I added one to the back center, which is this gray sun, which means it's hooked up and detected, but is actually not charging right now because the battery is already 100%. And same with the back right, added another panel. Now I actually did use an aftermarket panel for the shed, and then I used an Arlo official panel for the back right and the back center, and I'm adding an additional aftermarket panel to my back left camera. Now I'm just doing the different panels just to kind of see which one works the best, and if there's any difference, because the aftermarket panels are about half the price. So save a little bit of money if the aftermarket one works out well. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up the computer view here and head back outside. Take a look at the solar panels and my actual mounting solutions I did for these cameras right here, which are gutter mounted. Very cool. You can mount it right to your gutter without having to drill into your house, which I did for these 3 cameras here and all for both of these solar panels here. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up this relatively long video. Here we are outside. I'm at my back corner camera. As you can see here is the gutter mount. It's been out here for about over a year, so it's a little bit worn out. I may replace these every few years based on how they degrade, but they're really pretty nice. They attach directly to your gutter. 2 options depending on the thickness of your gutter. You can flip it and use the thin edge for the thin gutters, and then you could use the thicker saw, which I'm using for the ones with the water lip up front. And really they just kind of thumb screw into place, and then you can mount either on the top or bottom the mounting plate for your cameras, as you can see here. And then here is the charger for my recently installed solar panels. Here is the Arlo solar panel, also on a gutter mount. Let's see here, hopefully. And this one's a little bit newer because this is a new mount. And as you can see here, the plate is mounted on the top. I just was able to use only 2 of the screws to hold the plate in place. And then I have that attached to the solar panel. Now, like I said, this is the official solar panel. And then here's the extra wire. I wish they gave you an option of different lengths of wire. These are hard attached to the panel, so you cannot like pull this off and swap it with a shorter wire. So I just have it zip tied here to part of my gutter frame, and then the wire runs and then loops around and attaches to the camera. Same setup over there. Another Arlo solar panel, another Arlo 4K camera. That's my center yard, and it's attached the exact same way. Both are on gutter mounts, and I really like the gutter mount setup because I don't have to drill, into my roof or into the siding or anything crazy. Mounts here, and they don't look super sturdy, but I've had them over a year here. We've had some significant winds. I mean, you can see here we are up on a hill. I guess they call it hill country out here in South Texas. And these things have hurt, 50 mile an hour winds, and the cameras have wobbled a little bit, but nothing has flown off. I haven't tested the solar panel yet. These have only been on here for a few days, so we'll see if these hold up as well. But it's the same exact mount. I'll put a link description for the mounts, panels, and everything like that. But yeah, so this is how I have it set up currently, and I have the same gutter mount for my far corner camera over there. But I'm still waiting on installing a solar panel for that one. These will hopefully make it so I don't have to charge these batteries ever. They'll be able to stay charged indefinitely, unattended with these solar panels. So far, they seem like they're working real good. And yeah, we'll go ahead and go to the front of my shed right here on the other side, where I have the camera that we did install on this video. And I'll show you the solar panel for that one. That is a non-Arlo solar panel. So these are the Arlos. That one is an aftermarket solar panel. So we'll take a look at that and how I mounted that one. Since there's no gutters on the shed, it is mounted differently. We are at the front portion of my side yard shed. Here is the camera that we installed earlier in this video. And here is the additional solar panel. This one is the aftermarket one. And you can see here, it looks a little bit different than the Arlo one. I believe this one is rated for 4 watts. Arlo, I believe maybe 2 watts. But I actually do like the look of this one a little bit more, but it's just kind of nitpicking. But I do have it mounted with the included mount that came with it, and it's just this typical 3-screw mounted plate here, and it just screwed right into the shed. It's quite sturdy, and then I just ran the cord here with some kind of like a cord nail down, tie down type deal, and then the cord attaches directly to the camera and it charges. So I have the solar panels kind of pointed decently. Since hooking up this panel, I believe 2 days ago, it has charged the battery that was low when I hooked it up, which you're not really supposed to do. It was at 18%, now I believe it's at 35%. It's been pretty much like this both days, so it hasn't even been a sunny day and it's still charging, so that is definitely good. I have another one of these coming, which I'll be using on my far corner camera to keep that one charged, and then really all my cameras will be hopefully able to stay charged unattended most of the time. So yeah, we'll go ahead and head back inside, and then we'll go ahead and close this video out. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video with some clips of recordings from the cameras. This recording is from the Shed 4K. Here is the same Shed 4K camera turning on with a motion sensor with the strobe, so it's a color night vision, I call it. And here is a audio sensor. It was detected in the garage, and so it kicked on the strobe in my garage to capture my vehicle. And outdoors in the backyard, my wife was running our fire pit, and it did a motion detection here, turned on the strobe, and it's pretty cloudy because it is actually that smoke that's flying around there. Here we have the front floodlight. This is 2K. I actually scaled it out a little bit so it filled the screen. And this looks like my kid's ordering DoorDash. DoorDasher runs up there. The strobe kicks on. The way I have it angled, it doesn't really detect too far out on the driveway before it kicks on the floodlight. It is hardwired, so the floodlight is quite bright. And unfortunately, I just didn't have a better way to mount it to get a little better angle. But overall, it works pretty good for what I need. Here we have another video. This one is motion captured in the garage. Pretty much me getting ready to go to the gym. So it of course captured me getting in the car and then driving out of the garage. As you can see, the video is pretty clear, and as mentioned earlier in the video, the recordings are in the full resolution that the camera can provide. And most of my cameras are the Ultra 2 4K, so the recordings are in 4K, as you can see here. Of course, the living room camera and my Floodlight are in 2K, and so of course they'll only record in 2K. Now I'm going out the garage here and also record via the Floodlight camera. As I back out of the garage, captures it via the motion sensor, and of course this video was scaled out so it fills up the 4K screen. Now really that'll wrap up the video. Hopefully it wasn't too long, but I really wanted to hit all the points, installing, using them, kind of setting everything up. So hopefully you found it informative, and if you do want to go with camera setup, maybe consider the Arlo ones. As always, feel free to subscribe. Thanks for stopping by, and peace.